you are worth so much more than anybody could ever pay you. And this is how you'll know your boss is paying you just enough to keep you working without quitting, but not so much money that takes money out of their pocket. If they did pay you what you were worth, they would go broke. So what I suggest is you figure out how to make sure that the value that you put out into the world is 100% benefiting you.
If you're a real estate investor and are wondering how to raise and leverage private money to make more profit on every deal, then you're in the right place. On Raising Private Money, we'll speak with new and seasoned investors to dissect their deals and extract the best tips and strategies to help you get the money, because the money comes first. Now here's your host, Jay Conner.
Welcome to another amazing episode of Raising Private Money. I'm Jay Conner, your host, also known as the Private Money Authority. And it's on this show that we talk about how to raise private money for your real estate deals without ever having to ask for money, without ever having to chase money, without ever having to persuade or talk anybody into loaning you money. It's all about attracting the money. Well, my guest today, I'm so excited to have him on the show. He's raised millions of dollars as well of private money for his real estate deals. And so we're going to pick his brain as to how he has gone about. Actually, he raised $1.5 million in private money just by being on 2 podcasts. I can't wait for you to hear that story. Well, he's the founder and host of what's called Master Passive Income, which is a blog and a podcast. And it's about investing in real estate rental properties. So if you're a landlord and you're already having rental properties, or if you're someone that's interested in exploring the opportunity and the option of investing in real estate rental properties, then today is the show for you. Well, my guest desires to help you succeed in investing in real estate rental properties. Now, if we go back to 2004, my guest realized he would actually never be wealthy working for somebody else. So what did he do? He knew he needed to change something. Well, like so many of us, one of the first investing books that he read was Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And after he read that book, he knew he needed to become an investor. So what did he start doing? He started investing in real estate and earning cash flow all the way back in 2006. Of course, we know what was waiting for him right around the corner. That's right, the global financial crisis. So in 2016, he was able to quit his day job working for the local government. And since that time, he knows he is never going to have to work for anybody else again, except for himself. Well, my guest believes that if you bless enough people, you're going to get blessed in return, just like Zig Ziglar says. You're helping other people get what they need and want. You don't have to worry about yourself. Well, my guest's desire is to give away as much free information as possible through his blog to help as many people as possible. I'm so excited to have my guest. You're going to meet him in just a moment. His name is Dustin Heiner, and you're going to meet him right after this. Oh, my lands, Dustin, welcome to the amazing Raising Private Money podcast. I'm so excited to have you on.
Thanks, Jay. That was absolutely phenomenal introduction. You guys definitely did your homework. You guys know a lot about me, a lot more than most people when I go on shows and share. And so I really appreciate you having me on. I'm looking forward to sharing as much as I can. My goal in life now, my mission in life is to help 1 million people to invest in real estate. Because I found the more people, just like you said, that Zig Ziglar quote, the more people that I serve in this life, the better my life gets and the better their life gets. And so I just figure out, how do I serve more people? Because in the end, we all win.
I tell you what, Dustin, you and I are on the same page, because after all, it's not about reaping. It's not about reaping. It's all about sowing, all about leading with value. I can't wait to hear your story to share with my audience about how you raised $1.5 million from just being on 2 podcasts. After all, the name of this show is Raising Private Money. But before we get into that story, I would love for you to share How in the world did you even get started in investing in real estate?
Yeah. So like you said, 2006, I started investing in real estate, but I didn't start there. I started like everybody usually does. We're taught this pattern. You go to school, you get good grades, and you take those good grades and you hopefully go into college or university, and you get a piece of paper after getting tens of 20, maybe more thousands of dollars into debt. And then you get a piece of paper called a degree, and then you go and hopefully try to find a quote unquote career someplace. And then you work 40 plus years of your life and then retire at 65, 70 years old and hopefully live on 40% of what you saved the entire time. Well, I'm doing the exact same thing. In fact, I get the most stable, secure job you could ever think of. I work for a local county government in California doing IT. So California is not going away. Government's definitely not going away. And IT is not, or technology is not going away. So I get the most stable, secure job, sit down desk job. Well, I'm working that job. And at the same time, I've always been entrepreneurial. Started a few different businesses, even had a newspaper route when I was young because I wanted to have a business, but they were not enough to, make me become financially independent. And I was always working that job. Well, this is what really shoved me to invest in real estate. So my wife and I started having kids. I bought one property in 2006. And as I started investing, I realized I needed to become an investor because that's where I had made so much more money. Where, my property did all the work for me, making $300-400 a month in passive income just from that one property. But even though I knew I needed to be an investor, life started getting in the way. And so my wife and I started having kid after kid after kid. Eventually, this is what really got me to say, I got it. This is all I need to do. So when my wife had her fourth kid, I went on paternity leave. That's where the dad stays home with the mom, changes poopy diapers and all that good stuff and bonds with the baby. Well, I get back to work after about 2 weeks and a Friday. In the same week I get back to work, a Friday at 3:30 in the afternoon, I get a call from my boss's secretary, like the top dog. And she says, Dustin, would you please come to the office? So I said, sure. And I hung up the phone. I paused for a second because I thought, why in the world are they calling me in the office? Like, this is not normal. And I've seen plenty of movies. Friday at 3:30 is not a good sign to get called to the boss. And I started thinking, no, there's no way I'm getting laid off. I've got great seniority here. My boss is saying I do a great job. And I remember about a month or two before this, there was some rumors, there's some rumbling going that there could potentially be layoffs because the county, it was a depression or recession, 2010 ish. And then, so I get up after shaking off, said, there's no way I'm getting laid off. I walked down the hallway to my boss's office, and this hallway isn't very long. In fact, it's kind of short, but every single step that I took, it felt like the hallway got longer and longer and longer. And it felt like my feet became lead bricks because the weight of potentially losing my job started crushing down on me. Well, I get down the hallway and I turn the corner and I see my boss's door. His door is closed, and I see his secretary there, super sweet, nice old lady. And she says, Dustin, would you please have a seat? So I go and I take a seat, and she's trying to console me with her eyes, kind of sheepishly grinning at me because she knows everything about what's going on. I know nothing about what's going on. Well, I go and I take my seat, and I realize that if I get laid off right now, I started thinking, my goodness, if I get laid off, did I just waste my life? This whole plan that I've been told by other people, did I waste my life? And then I realized, oh my goodness, we just had our fourth kid. If I can't afford and food for my family, did I just become like, am I a failure as a father? Am I a failure as a husband, as a man trying to provide for his family? Well, as I'm sitting there, my hands get all clammy, my forehead gets all sweaty because the nerves are just crushing me. Well, the door of my boss's office opens up, and out walks a coworker of mine with a piece of paper in her hands. She is noticeably distraught, noticeably upset, not necessarily crying, but you could tell her world's been devastated. She passes by me, and my boss says, Dustin, would you please come in the office? So I get up and I go into his office and I get laid off. And this is the government. Nobody gets fired or laid off the government, but I did. And the reason why I tell the story is because of two things that I realized. So I take that layoff notice and I go back to my desk and I sit down and I realize two things. Number one, I need to get another job. I need to find a way to provide for my family. So I was really blessed, praise the Lord, to find another job in the same county. Another department wasn't having those issues. So check, got that. But then sitting in that chair, realized the second thing, that I need to make sure that this never, ever happens to me again. I need to make sure that nobody has the ability to take away my ability to feed my family. So right then and there, I realized that I need to stop letting life get in the way. I need to become an investor. So right then and there, whenever I would get asked the question, we always get everybody gets asked this question, what do you do? I would reply, my job. Well, I'm basically projecting out to the world that the value that I put on myself comes from my job. No, my value doesn't come from my job. My value comes from my God and from myself and from my family. So right then and there, I started telling every single person, I am an investor. Now, it may so happen that 100% of my money comes from my job. That's not my part-time job. I am a full-time investor. So fast forward the story. Started buying property after property after property, each one making me 250, 350, 450 or more dollars in passive income. Eventually, I had 30 plus properties. I realized, why am I working here? So last part of the story, went to my new boss, good boss, and I said, hey, boss, I'm laying you off. Jokingly, we kind of laughed. And he said, Dustin, what are you going to do? I said, I don't have to do anything. I own real estate that makes me money without working. And the last part of the story, I would walk to and from my job to my car, parked about a mile and a half away. Did this walk 1,000 times. This last time, I felt like I was walking on clouds because I knew I would never, ever need a job again. And everybody listening to this, you need to realize that you are worth so much more than anybody could ever pay you. And this is how you'll know your boss is paying you just enough to keep you working without quitting, but not so much money that takes money out of their pocket. If they did pay you what you were worth, they would go broke. So what I suggest is you figure out how to make sure that the value that you put out into the world is 100% benefiting you. When I had all these rental properties coming in, I didn't need to work anymore, and I was blessed to be able to quit my job. So, Jay, I'll pause the story because you probably got plenty of questions.
Oh, wow. That was a quick pause.
Sorry. I'll give you a little more lead time on that one.
There you go. Well, that's quite an inspiring story you've got going on there, Dustin. There's quite a few takeaways that I hear from your story. First of all, you're laid off from your day job, and you had a decision to make, and that was, where you're going to go home and, put your tail in between your legs and go draw unemployment and feel sorry for yourself, or were you going to make a decision to keep moving forward and you found the other government job? But the other takeaway at the same time is that you learned a very, very valuable lesson. And that is what you've got going on right now today, where someone else is pulling the strings and making the decisions as far as how much money you're making and all that. You made the decision that, you know what, you can be in control of your destiny. You can decide what it is that you want to do, and where you don't have to rely on that, outside source. So I do know that one thing you've done is you've raised private money. After all, we're here on the show raising private money, but you've gone about it in a different kind of way. I've done right at 800 podcast episodes with my show here, and I don't recall anybody saying that they had raised $1.5 million in private funding just from being on 2 podcast shows. Do tell that story.
Yeah. So I guess it'll be a little more clarifying on the 2 podcast episodes. So what it was, so I have my own podcast. Back in 2015, 2016, I quit my job and I wanted to serve more people. I wanted to help people. I wanted to teach people how to do this. In fact, I had friends and family members ask me how to invest in real estate. Like, how are you quitting your job? And I'm like, well, because I have real estate. They asked me, well, can you teach me? And I said, sure. So I started teaching all these people one-on-one, and it was fun. And I realized 2 things. I enjoyed it and I had free time. And so I decided, how can I help more people faster? So I started my podcast, the Master Passive Income Podcast. It's literally a solo show. Like 95% is all solo. Me just teaching how I'm doing this because I want to get more people to invest. In fact, my mission in life is to help 1 million people to invest in real estate, because when I help them succeed, then I succeed. So it's great. But this podcast that I had, just coaching people one-on-one, I had so many people reaching out to me after, I don't know, 5-6 years of doing a solo show. I've got thousands of coaching students now, coaching them how to invest in real estate, becoming financial independent, buying properties. Well, I had people also say, well, Dustin, can I invest in your deals? And I would always tell them no. I would say, no, I want to help you. That's what I want to do. My deals are my wife and myself. And so here's what happened. I had friends of mine other real estate investors. I put on a real estate investor conference. We had 500 plus people there, and one of my speakers are friends of mine. And after one of the conference, I said, "Hey, Dustin, we have a property coming up. It's 355 units in right near Nashville, Tennessee, and we want you to be a general partner, do some asset management, but we need help raising capital. It's a $25 million purchase. We need to raise, I think it was like 10, 12 million." And I said, "I've never done it before, but let's go ahead and try." Because I know people have asked me because they want to invest in my deals. I've helped thousands of people to invest themselves in their own deals, but I had also lots of people that had lots of money that want to invest. So I put out 2 podcast episodes. I'm teaching how to invest in real estate. But in the beginning of the episode, I shared, "Hey guys, this is what I'm personally investing in. If you want to be a part of it, fill out this form." I gave them a Google form to fill out. Let me know if you want to invest. And I did 2 different episodes where I talked about how to invest in multifamily, how to make sure you're getting in the right deals, how to, if you're going to be a limited partner where you're investing your money, what to watch out for. So I'm educating them how to do it. And I'm showing them this deal that I have is just phenomenal. And if you want to invest with me, you can. So I put out 2 episodes. Now, here's a fun thing, Jay. So I actually have done this twice now, raising over $1.5 million twice now from 2 podcast episodes. So 2024, in May, we closed on our 355 unit apartment complex. I put out 2 episodes, but I had so many people wanting to invest with me because of all this work. And remember, when I told you that story, I told every single person after getting laid off that I'm an investor. So many people, everybody knows me. If you want to take anything away from how I raise this much money, it's because 2 things. Number 1, I help as many people as I can. But number 2, every single person that has ever met me since that day I got laid off, all they know is that I'm an investor. And so every single person that I've ever met already knows this. And so I put out 2 podcast episodes in 2024, and I got so many people that I stopped putting it out because I had to call everybody and get everybody. So we raised 1.5 total with my 3 other partners. We raised 12 million. And then just last month, we closed on 375 unit apartment complex in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Same exact thing. In fact, let me take that back. I did not even put out on my show that I was taking investors. I don't believe I did. I just called the original investors because I had a list of like 30 or 40 different wealthy individuals. And so I called them up and said, "Hey, I'm investing in this new deal. Would you want?" And they jumped all over it because we got it for $60,000 a unit. We could literally resell it for $110,000 a unit now, and fantastic cash flow, all that sort of stuff. But what it really came down to, if you want to boil, like I said, everything down, everybody knows me as an investor. And I've been doing it for a very long time, 10 years now, knowing as an investor. But number 2, I've been helping so many people. When they listen to my podcast, they hear how much I want to help them. And in the end, they say, "You know what? I trust Dustin. I've been listening to this guy every single week for 5 years or 10 years or however long." In fact, I have people say, "Dustin, I found you. And for a month, I went back and binged all," and like I said, 400 episodes, solo show, 400 of me just teaching them how to do it. "Dustin, I trust you so much. I'm giving you my money. So if you want to boil everything down, tell everybody that you're an investor from this point forward, no matter what, no matter if you don't have any properties now, everybody needs to know that you're an investor." Remember, I said, even though 100% of my money came from my job, that's my part-time job. I'm a full-time investor. But number 2, serve as many people as you can. When people trust you, when people know that you are there for their benefit, then they're going to want to invest with you. So does that help round out how I raise? Now it's 3 million now from 2 episodes from bringing all the people that wanted to invest with me.
Well, one thing that you just said, Dustin, that's so important is your private lenders, your investors said, "I trust you. I trust you, Dustin. I want to invest with you." And that's really what it's all about. At the end of the day, our private lenders and our investors really are not investing in our deals. What they're really doing is they're investing in you, the real estate entrepreneur, your confidence, your experience, your ability, to make the deal happen. So I'm glad you shared that. Now, it sounds like, are most of your properties and deals that you're doing multifamily, or do you have some single family?
So here's what I have. So I started investing back in 2006, buying residential. I love residential. In fact, I do it in my sleep. I've taught, like I said, thousands of people how to invest in residential. Absolutely love it. It's my bread and butter. I'm so confident in that because what I do is I build a business and that I make sure that I build income in that business. Like I don't go into business to lose money. Same thing with every single residential property that I buy, that I own. I own it so that I can make money every single month. And that's how I become financially independent. I quit my job at 37 years old. I like the term successful unemployed. So that's number one, is I make sure that I build a business that, and number two is that I make income. So with 30 plus single family homes now, residential that are long-term, short-term, midterm properties are 30, 60, 90 days. And so I have lots of cash flow coming in. And I, in fact, stuttering. In fact, I invest in 5 different states: Ohio, Texas, Arizona, Tennessee, and Indiana. In these different states, all my properties are all spread out. And then my multifamily, total of, I have 2 different big apartment complexes and general partner on, is a 355 unit near Nashville and a 375 unit in Chattanooga, Tennessee. So my residential is spread out all over, but I found that Tennessee's been really good for our, especially my general partners that I'm with. My other partners on the properties, they're really good at finding properties off market as well as hugely discounted. And so, like I said, the current property we just closed on last month raised almost 1.5 million total. We raised in, and here's the great thing: if you get a good deal, the money's gonna come out of the woodwork. Now, here's the thing: people say, "Well, Dustin, right now is the worst time to buy. You know, prices are high, interest rates are high." And here's my saying, or here's what I'll say: it's never a bad time to buy. Never bad times, just bad deals. Even in the best of times, you can buy the worst deal and you'll lose money. Right now, even though interest rates are high, prices are high, we're still buying properties. In fact, my daughter, who's 16 years old now, in January, so like 3 or 4 months ago, bought her first rental property. You know, obviously I coached lots of people, so I coached her. She took all of her savings, bought a property, and now she's investing. And so if you find the good deals, money will come in. So quickly getting back to that 375 unit apartment complex in Chattanooga, we needed to raise $9.2 million as a total, the total GPs in 23 days, because this deal was so phenomenal. We're getting it for $60,000 a unit when we could literally resell it for 110 right away. In 23 days, we raised $9.8 million. We had to tell everybody, stop, stop, don't give us any more money. We can't take any more. And so if you have a great deal, that's when the money's going to come in. And then if you're building out your, I guess, the people that know you as an investor right now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, it's the long game. We're investors. We play for the long game. We build a business. We make sure we're making income. And in the end, more and more people will know you as an investor and they'll want to invest in all of your deals. Does that make sense?
It does make sense, Dustin. So my question is, on your single family houses, how have you primarily funded those single family houses?
Yeah. I'm going to tell you, I've used at least 16. I've counted them because I coach them now, and I have 16 different ways to get financing for my single family homes. Residential, when I say single family, like residential 4 units and below. So it could be fourplexes and below, but 16 different ways. And it could be my money, somebody else's money, a home equity line of credit. In fact, I'll give you a quick example. If somebody's saying, "Well, Dustin, I want to invest in real estate, I don't have any money." Well, if you have a house, that could be a great way. In fact, one of my students, give you a quick example or story. He's a pastor up in Sacramento. He doesn't have any money. You know, pastors don't make much money, but he bought a house in 2014-ish. He had equity. So I started coaching him, and we got a home equity line of credit on his home that he lived in, then took that money, bought a house in Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia, then refinanced it, pulled that cash back out to pay off his home equity line of credit, now has his home free and clear. But this is just one that's renting, making him money every single month. But this is just one of, like I said, 16. It could be business line of credit, a DSCR loan, a debt service coverage ratio loan. That's where the property makes money, and it's not your primary, like your personal income that guarantees the loan. It's the property itself. Private money. I've raised private money, like my dad. I said, "Hey, Dad, this is what I'm doing. I have 5 properties now. I need some more money. Would you want to invest in my deal?" He gave me a loan. Yeah, absolutely. So there's so many different ways to get financing and a lot of students or a lot of people that listen to my show, the most downloaded shows are how to finance properties and how to find. Those two things. But those are the easiest things. And you know this, Jay. Financing is so easy. When you have an amazing deal, you're going to get so much money. And you just need to obviously know how these work out. But when a student brings me, or we have a bunch of coaches, like, in fact, I'll say this, my students have graduated and they become coaches here at Master Passive Income. And we coach them because a lot of them say, well, I don't have money to buy the next property. You know, we scale to 8, 10, 15 properties. Well, we say, here are your options. Think of it like your tool belt. If you're a construction worker, you have a tool belt, lots of tools. Well, all these different tools will fit a certain thing that you're working on. You know, hammers and nails and ladders, and like everything is a different tool. All these different 16, 17 different ways, they're all different ways to get financing for property. Another quick one is, you know, taking over somebody's loan is subject to. Anyways, I can give you a whole list of them, but that's what we do. The financing is not the problem. The easy part is financing the property because there are so many ways to do it.
I love it, Dustin. Well, I think you should really start talking to your doctor about getting a pill subscribed or prescribed to you to give you a little bit more energy, give yourself a little bit more passion, give yourself a little more stamina. You're amazing, Dustin. I'm so excited to have you here on the show to share your passion, to share what you're so excited about, what you're passionate about. And I know that I've got a lot of people that are listening to this conversation that you and I are having. What's the best way for people to get in touch with you and continue the conversation with you?
Absolutely. Would you mind if I give everybody a free course that would hopefully help them to invest?
No, they should not get a free course from you. Absolutely not. No free, no free, no freebies. Absolutely give them a free course.
Awesome, Jay. Yeah, so I created a course that I just give away because I want to help a million people. So you go to masterpassiveincome.com/free course, all one word, masterpassiveincome.com/free course. Or if you're listening on a podcast, it might be easy. You can text the word rental, RENTAL, rental to 33777. Rental to 33777. I'll give you my course where you can find you can build a business anywhere in the country. You invest all over the country, buy your properties, make sure you're making cash flow, become financially independent. I'll definitely give you that to you completely for free. Text the word rental to 33777. Or you can listen to my podcast as well, Master Passive Income. You look up Dustin Heiner or Master Passive Income, YouTube or podcast, Apple. In fact, one fun thing is if you look up in Apple podcast, you look up real estate investing, I'm number one. It's great. I beat everybody. I'm number one in there. But you can listen to the podcast. I give away everything literally for free as well. But one other quick thing. So I've been getting started in social media. So if you want to find me on Instagram, I love sharing how to invest in real estate. I even love getting DMs. Like if you heard me on Jay's show, reach out to me, the Dustin Heiner, THE Dustin Heiner. If you just look at Master Passive Income or Dustin Heiner, you'll find me on there as well. But I love getting DMs, seeing how people are doing, seeing how I can help you and everything. But in the end, what I found, the more people that I serve in my life, the better their life gets and the better my life gets. And I feel more fulfilled in life because I helped another human being get what they want. Because I'm not driven by money. I have plenty of, I saved literally 95% of all the money that I make to buy more real estate. And then now it's all about helping more people.
Dustin, I love your heart. I love your attitude. I love your philosophy. We connect on so many different levels. Dustin, thank you so much. And for all of you that are tuning in and listening to the show, be sure and take advantage of the free gift that Dustin has given out there. And that is masterpassiveincome.com/free course. God bless you, Dustin. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you, Jay. God bless you too.
And there you have it, another amazing episode of Raising Private Money. And listen, you are one conversation away from making an impact in somebody else's life. What I'd like for you to do is just share this episode with just one person. Share this episode with just one person that you believe it would make a difference in their life, a difference in their investing career. One person that you'd like to make an impact. That's all I ask. In addition to that, If you've really been excited about tuning in, be sure to subscribe, like, and share. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure and ring that bell so you don't miss out on any upcoming amazing episodes. I look forward to seeing you right here on the next episode of Raising Private Money.
Are you feeling inspired by the knowledge you gained in this episode? Then head over to jconner.com/moneyguide. That's jconner.com/moneyguide and download your free guide that shares 7 reasons why private money will skyrocket your real estate investing business right now. Again, that's jconner.com/moneyguide to get your free guide. We'll see you next time on Raising Private Money with Jay Conner.